Have you ever felt guilty for resting? Like somewhere deep inside, there's a voice telling you that if you stop moving, you're falling behind. That the more you sacrifice, the more God is pleased. That rest is for the weak, the lazy, and the uncommitted. So you push harder, you serve more, you say yes to everything, you sleep less, you pray faster, you give until there's nothing left, and then one day, you wake up completely empty. Not just tired, empty. But here's what nobody told you. What if your exhaustion isn't a sign of your devotion? What if it's actually a sign of your disobedience? Because here's the truth that is about to completely change the way you live. Rest is not a reward you earn after you've done enough. Rest is a command God gave before you ever had a chance to fail. By the end of this video, you are going to understand why your burnout might be a spiritual problem, not a scheduling one. And you're going to discover exactly how to rest the way God designed, without the guilt, without the shame, and without falling behind. To understand this, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. Not the beginning of your problems, the beginning of everything. Genesis chapter 2. God has just finished creating the universe, the stars, the oceans, the animals, the human being. Everything is complete. Everything is perfect. And then the Bible tells us something extraordinary. On the seventh day, God rested. Now stop right there, because this raises a question that most of us never ask. Why did God rest? Was he tired? Was he out of ideas? Did he need to recover? Of course not. God doesn't get tired. Isaiah 40:28 tells us clearly he never grows weary. So then why did he stop? He rested to show us something. He rested to model something. He rested to build rest into the very foundation of existence. Not as an afterthought, not as a luxury, but as a sacred rhythm that he himself demonstrated first. And then in Exodus 20, he didn't suggest it. He didn't recommend it. He commanded it. Right there in the 10 Commandments, the same list that includes do not murder and do not steal. He said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Most of us treat that commandment like a footnote, but God put it in the same list as the commandments we take most seriously. That tells you everything about how seriously he takes rest. Imagine two believers. Both love God. Both are completely sincere. The first one treats rest like a weakness. He is always busy for God, always in a meeting, always serving, always doing more. If you ask him how he's doing, he'll say, busy but blessed. But if you look closely at his eyes, you'll see it. A quiet depletion, a hollow behind the smile. He hasn't taken a real day off in months. He tells himself it's all for God. But slowly, his patience disappears. His joy shrinks. His prayers grow shorter and feel more distant. He is running a race with no finish line and calling it faithfulness. The second believer protects her rest the way she protects her prayer time. She isn't lazy. She works hard. She serves faithfully. But she has learned that rest isn't the opposite of productivity. It's the source of it. She carries a steadiness in difficult moments. Her faith doesn't waver with every storm. When everyone around her is anxious and reactive, she is grounded. The difference between these two people isn't talent. It isn't commitment. It isn't how much they love God. It's whether or not they trust God enough to stop. Think about a field. A farmer plants crops in that field year after year, and for a season, the harvest is rich and full. But if you never let the field rest, if you keep pulling from it without giving it time to recover, eventually the soil loses its nutrients. The crops get thinner, the harvest gets smaller, and one day, the field that used to overflow is producing almost nothing. Ancient farmers understood this. God even commanded it in Leviticus 25. Every seventh year, the land was to rest. No planting, no harvesting. A full year of Sabbath for the soil. They called it the Sabbath year. And the promise was this: if you honor the rest, the land will produce more in the years that follow than it ever did before. Your soul works exactly the same way. You are not a machine. You are not a productivity engine. You are a human being who was created with limits, not because God made a mistake, but because he designed you to need him. Your limits are not a flaw. They are an invitation. When you refuse to rest, you aren't being more faithful. You are slowly depleting the very soil that your fruit grows from. So how do you actually practice God-designed rest in a world that never stops? Here are 5 shifts that will change everything. Switch 1. Redefine what rest means. Rest is not doing nothing. Biblical rest is intentional disconnection from striving and intentional reconnection to God. It means stepping out of production mode and entering into presence mode. It looks like sitting quietly with no agenda. It looks like a slow walk and a thankful heart. It looks like sleeping without guilt. Switch 2. Schedule rest before you need it. Most of us rest only when we collapse, but God didn't design rest as emergency recovery. He designed it as a weekly rhythm. Before you plan your week, block your rest the same way you block your most important meeting, because it is your most important appointment. Switch 3. Silence the guilt. The voice that says you should be doing something is not the Holy Spirit. That is the voice of a performance-based faith that has confused confused busyness with holiness. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." He didn't say, "Come to me once you've finished everything." He said, "Come now as you are." Switch 4. Protect your rest from other people's urgency. Not every request is your assignment. Not every need is your emergency. Learning to say no to the urgent so you can say yes to the essential, that is not selfishness. That is stewardship of the life God gave you. Switch 5. Let rest be an act of worship. This is the switch that changes everything. When you rest, you are making a declaration. You are saying, "God, I trust you. I don't have to hold this all together. You are still in control while I am still." Rest is not the absence of faith. Rest is one of its highest expressions. When you finally learn to rest the way God designed, something unexpected begins to happen. Your mind gets clearer. Not because your problems disappear, but because you stop carrying them alone. Your creativity comes back. The ideas that couldn't get through the noise suddenly have space to breathe. Your relationships get warmer. The patience you couldn't manufacture through willpower begins to grow naturally. Your faith gets deeper. Because rest forces you to trust, and trust is the soil where real faith grows. You stop performing for God and start simply being with God. And in that quiet place, you discover something that all the busyness in the world could never give you. You discover that you are enough, not because of what you produced, but because of whose you are. So here is the truth you can carry with you today. Rest is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not falling behind. It is a command written by the hand of God, practiced by God himself before he ever asked it of you. You don't have to earn your rest. You don't have to finish everything first. You don't have to wait until you've given enough. You just have to trust that the one who never sleeps is watching over everything you're afraid to put down. Stop calling your exhaustion a virtue. Stop wearing burnout like a badge of honor. Stop mistaking busyness for faithfulness. Come to him. Rest in him. Let his rhythm become your rhythm. Because the most productive thing you will ever do is learn to be still. If that hits something in you that's been running on empty for too long, don't scroll past. Go to the comments right now and type, "Lord, teach me to rest." Let those words be your permission slip to finally stop striving. And if someone came to mind while watching this, someone who is always tired, always giving, always the last one to take care of themselves, share this with them. They need permission to rest more than they need another thing on their to-do list. And if you want more simple, soul-shifting biblical truths delivered straight to your feed, subscribe. Let's stop the hustle together. Let's learn to be still. I'll see you in the next one.